It's usually hard to criticize Game of Thrones because of how well every episode is, but we know there's one story where things kind of fell apart. I'm talking about the infamous Dorne plot. A story I was so excited for, especially after how well they adapted Oberyn Martell and King's Landing. The show writers don't have the luxury of time like George Martin does with his books, so it's understandable that some of the script is going to seem a little rushed. The problem with Dorne in season 5 and 6 was it felt like nothing was even happening and the characters were just not interesting. The Sand Snakes were brats, and Duran didn't do anything. Now it would be dumb of me to just sit here and complain without giving my opinions of what they could have done better, so that's what I'm going to do. Two major characters were cut out of the show to simplify the story, but messing with the original story too much is what caused all this wonky writing. In the books, Duran Martell's eldest child, Arianne Martell, was secretly supposed to marry Viserys Targaryen and help him take Westeros back. This revelation, explained by Duran Martell, seemed so weak the entire time. He was just being patient for his revenge on the Lannisters. After Viserys was killed by Khal Drogo, they had to change their plans. Duran sends his son Quentyn to meet with Daenerys. Quentyn ends up being killed by her dragon, but Duran also sends his daughter Arianne to meet with the other major character that was cut out of the show. A character that was going by Young Griff is claiming to be Aegon Targaryen, Daenerys' nephew, who has the better claim for the Iron Throne and has already an army with him. Aegon is a child of Rhaegar Targaryen and Elia Martell that was supposed to be killed by the Mountain on Tywin Lannister's orders. This also makes him Duran's nephew. I'm sure that if the show did adapt Aegon, they would have him do very little and end up dying. Without Aegon in the show, it gives Arianne no real purpose, so that's probably why they cut her out. What they should have done is combine Arianne's story with her brother Quentyn's. Instead of Quentyn traveling to Meereen just to die, he could have convinced her to hurry up and get her ass to Westeros long before she really did. They don't have to get married and become the king and queen of Westeros. That'd be too much of a fairy tale compared to what Game of Thrones is. I'm not expecting a happy ending for the Mother of Dragons. While the Sand Snakes are fighting with their uncle Duran about doing nothing to the Lannisters, he would reveal that he's been plotting to team up with Daenerys and that Quentyn has already met her in secret. This would make Duran a much better character. Seeing Ellaria and the Sand Snakes killing their own family didn't make sense to me. Not only did they kill their own family, but they started a war with the Lannisters by killing Myrcella when sending her back to King's Landing. Duran was patient because he knew going against them alone wouldn't end well. But now we have Ellaria, who leaves a bad taste in everyone's mouth, on the same side of the Queen of Thorns and Daenerys and Jon Snow. Well, probably Jon Snow. If the Sand Snakes are on the battlefield with Dany against Euron Greyjoy and eventually Cersei, I don't know who I'll be cheering for. Man, I really hope Euron gets to do something before he gets taken out. I don't want to talk too much about him before I see what they decide to do with his character, who's very interesting in the books. But anyways, I'm sure the show creators and writers have seen the reception of Dorne online and will probably be putting them in the background next season. It's too bad because Duran, his kids, and the Sand Snakes had so much potential. But at least this dip in writing didn't really hurt season 6 all that much, which ended up being amazing, and Game of Thrones is still the best thing on TV by far. I don't think I've watched anything that has me so invested in the story and all its characters. And with all the changes they've been making in the later seasons, it has me even more excited for the next book. I have my doubts on how much the show is really spoiling the books. I really believe The Winds of Winter is going to be very different from season 6. Arianne and her father have doubts about Aegon Targaryen, so who knows what direction George Martin will take it. But what do you guys think of the minor change I would have done for the show? I'm not going to ask you if you loved or hated Dorne in the show, because I'm sure no one liked any of those scenes. If you enjoyed this video and want to watch more, I go in depth with House Martell in my family tree video that you can click on the link on the screen to go watch it. Thanks for watching this one, and I'll see you on the next video.